With UFC 318, aka Dustin Poirier's final fight of his career coming up this weekend, it's time to break down the main event between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway, and why I believe Dustin Poirier won't just get his fairy tale ending in New Orleans, Louisiana in front of his people by just winning the fight. I'm going to explain to you why I believe he finishes Max Holloway in their trilogy. Now, firstly, it being a trilogy, we've now seen them fight twice before, but more importantly, they've felt each other out over almost 30 minutes of fight time. So they're well accustomed to each other. And look, their first fight in 2012 isn't that important to analyze, as it was Max's first fight in the UFC and Dustin Poirier submitted him pretty easily in the first round. But from then to now, it's just not comparable because they've both improved ridiculously since then. But their second fight in 2019 is an absolute goldmine for analysis, with them going the full 25 minutes, where Poirier beat Holloway 49-46 for the interim lightweight title. Now, you might be like, Callum, that fight was like 6 odd years ago. They've clearly changed since that matchup. There's just no way it's going to play out the same. And I agree, because I think Poirier is going to be able to finish him. But when we look at the outcome of the trilogy, it doesn't all rely on that last fight. There are definitely other factors such as recent performances, the evolutions in their game since that fight, and other factors like age for Poirier and weight translation for Holloway moving up, and of course the damage they have both worn since their last fight, which we will get into, but it's still extremely important to break down their last fight to see how their styles actually worked against each other, even though it was so long ago. Because let's be honest here, they have both improved and added more weapons to their game, but their fight styles have not changed that much. Dustin Poirier is still that heavy-hitting southpaw, and Max is still that high-volume cardio machine from that second fight. Now, looking at their second fight and why I'm making my case for Dustin Poirier to take out Max in this matchup is firstly, and honestly, most importantly, is their stances. Poirier fights primarily out of southpaw and Max out of orthodox. And in their last fight, Poirier's southpaw stance was a serious problem for multiple reasons. Firstly, one of Poirier's best attributes is the timing of his strikes at boxing range, whether he is initiating or countering in the exchange. And especially through the first 2 rounds of that fight, Dustin was pumping the straight left down the pipe so well. He hurt Max 8 times in the first 2 rounds of that fight, primarily off that straight left. Pretty much any of those power shots out of southpaw, he was tagging Max. He had the timing and that power in that stance, and Max somehow survived with that legendary chin that has now been cracked going into the trilogy thanks to Poirier, which we will get into that fight a bit later. But Dustin was just all over him in those first 10 minutes, like landed almost 100 significant strikes. I think it was 99 significant strikes in 10 minutes. Poirier was just absolutely rinsing him. Poirier was also able to time his left hook from southpaw effectively when Max would press forward as well. So his counter striking there was just fine in southpaw. But even in orthodox, when he switched, he was using his left hand as a lead counter that was finding success in stopping Max Holloway from pressing forward. So Dustin has more success when he has to switch stances, and that is a monumental problem for Max Holloway if he has to switch stances. Even defensively, Max has a knack of having his lead hand out in front of him when he's trying to hand fight at boxing range, and Dustin's power left was just literally always there to tag him, and this is just all in the first 10 minutes. Poirier's lead right hook counter as well, and his jab was really finding success as the fight went on while Max was trying to press. Max barely pressed that entire fight because Poirier was always timing when he advanced with so many different weapons, with hooks, with power straights, with literally lead hooks, with power hooks, with uppercuts, like everything. Jabs, of course. And also, throughout the fight, especially in rounds 1 and 5, Poirier was using a really nice outside right leg kick and also teeps of the body, like push kicks against Max as well, which is crucial in this matchup. So obviously I'm saying that Dustin definitely has a lot of tools here. Now, it wasn't all Dustin in that fight. Max did have some good moments which can carry through to this fight, especially his lead left hook in orthodox to stop Dustin countering when he was against the cage, because Dustin's style of defense is very good at stopping power strikes, like rear hands of orthodox opposition, because he blocks so well on one side, but then he leaves his other side open for lead hooks from orthodox, and that's where that lead left hook was able to come through from Max Holloway. That was his best weapon in that fight. But as well as that, I gotta say for Max, he landed some pretty nice knees to the body in the clinch as well, mainly against the cage. Whenever Max had any form of success of being able to pressure forward, he had success. If he was at that just stable, even range, that even press, or he was pushed backwards, Max was in a lot of trouble. He was in a lot of trouble, and that's where he struggles to really press forward because of Dustin Poirier's timing. That's where, honestly, I just think when it comes to that striking pedigree and the tools and the attributes that DP has, Max is going to struggle in this fight. I just don't think he can compete with the timing of Dustin's strikes when Dustin is in southpaw, as well as the weight of Dustin's strikes. And the biggest concern for the both of them is who can force the stance switch first. If Max chews up Dustin's leg and forces him into orthodox, Poirier is not as dangerous on the front foot, but he can still counter strike with the lead left hook effectively. But if Dustin forces Max into southpaw, I think Max is getting knocked out. If Dustin can get past Max's power jab, because Dustin will be able to utilize the straight left a hell of a lot better than Max's straight left in southpaw. Max is not comfortable in that southpaw stance, so Dustin needs to chew that lead leg of Holloway's to bits, literally like he did in their last fight. And with Holloway's traditional boxing stance, he's so heavy on his lead leg, and it's very susceptible, which we saw from Dustin in that fight and from Ilia Topuria. And speaking of Ilia Topuria, let's move on to the damage they have taken. Now, as we all know, Holloway does not have any momentum going into this fight, and also has Ilia Topuria's BMF belt for some reason. That momentum he had prior from his Gaethje win, which was fantastic. I mean, he really put it on Gaethje and showed some fantastic improvements in that fight. Really showed really nice straight shots, had stiff power because his weight translation was so much better to that lightweight fight compared to the lightweight fight he had with Dustin Poirier. You could tell with the fight that he had with Dustin Poirier, he was a bit bigger in the stomach, like he wasn't really solidified, there wasn't a lot of muscle mass. But in the Gaethje fight, he looked so much fitter in that matchup, much more muscle density, and that's what was the killer about him cutting back down to fight Ilia, where Ilia knocked him out. But him going into this Dustin Poirier fight, he looks chiseled. He looks the best he has ever looked, but also Dustin Poirier looks the best he has ever looked. Both of them look in the best shape of their careers, hands down. But Max, I will say, looking into that scope of that Gaethje fight, I mean, did a fantastic job, just brutalized Gaethje's nose with the spinning back kick, and then also used really nice jabs, really nice straight shots. And look, Max, I will say, has definitely improved from that fight. Do not get me wrong. He looked fantastic against Gaethje, was really stringing heavy combinations together, and the cardio is not an issue for Max Holloway, which Dustin Poirier, that's the biggest concern for me when it comes to this fight, is Dustin Poirier's gas tank in comparison, especially if Max Holloway is able to get his body shots off effectively. Really nice straights to the body, nice 1-2 straight to the body of Gaethje, and also stringing 4 to 5 piece combinations against Gaethje in the 5th round. Yeah, cardio is definitely not an issue for him, which is something that DP really needs to be wary of, because he is on the older side now, technically, but we look at the performance of DP against Islam Makhachev, the pound for pound #1 fighter. He looked really good in that fight, considering he had to really be wary of the takedowns from Islam Makhachev in that fight, which he stuffed most of those takedowns. And
also really improved with that striking. I mean, really showed a good striking game against Islam's kickboxing, carved a massive cut in Islam's face. So we know DP has still got it. He's only a year older. I mean, I don't think age really comes into a factor here. The thing that comes into this fight is more of a factor is Max Holloway's chin, because he got brutally knocked out in that last fight from Ilia Topuria, and that's a gigantic question mark in this matchup. Does Max Holloway's chin actually hold up here? Well, if Max is getting tagged the same way against Dustin Poirier in their last fight with his now compromised chin, I'll be bloody surprised if he does not get slept. I think Dustin Poirier is just not the right opponent. Him being in southpaw as a power puncher, it's just not a good recipe for Max Holloway. I really do not believe, unless he's able to chew Dustin Poirier's body apart early. Other than that, I think he's getting cooked here. Don't get me wrong, he used, especially in the Gaethje fight and even in the Ilia fight, Max Holloway used a lot more lead weapons in his arsenal across those fights, especially with his lead jab, his lead hook, and his lead head kick. And newsflash, the last time Poirier was knocked out was a head kick from Buddy Gaethje, but with a straight boxing arsenal, it was about 10 years ago against Michael Johnson that Poirier was last knocked out. So taking Poirier out with Max's boxing heavy style is going to be a lot easier said than done. Also, looking at Max's history against southpaw fighters, the only southpaw Max has fought since the Dustin fight has been Arnold Allen. And Arnold Allen is great, and Max looked fantastic in that fight, but Arnold Allen doesn't have the same technical boxing skill and power in his hands like Dustin Poirier, and ultimately, style versus style, Dustin is the better boxer out of the two when they are matched up together specifically. Like, it's just a fact here. Dustin has a higher strike accuracy, he absorbs less strikes, has fought a shitload of orthodox style fighters in comparison to Max fighting southpaws, and had a competitive fight with the number one pound for pound Islam Makhachev in his last fight. So he's still finding success on the feet while nullifying the wrestling. And there's no wrestling for Dustin Poirier to worry about against Max Holloway, whereas Max Holloway has the wrestling to worry about against DP. DP has good double leg takedowns. He was able to take Max Holloway down in that second fight. And that's where DP definitely has the ground game advantage with his jiu-jitsu as well. So it is a factor, but I'm going to be very surprised if this fight does go to the ground. I think just with the atmosphere of DP's last fight and it being in his home crowd, I think he's going to take all the chances in the world to take Max Holloway out. I think he's going to be borderline reckless in this fight, but leading through the first and second rounds, that's kind of what he just needs, to be honest, because Max can't counter him effectively when he is getting pressed, especially out of that southpaw stance. And if DP is having that same kind of attitude that he had in that last fight, I think he's knocking Max Holloway out. Max has to rip the body of Poirier early and then really get this fight into the later rounds, because we know Max has the cardio advantage here, and Dustin was getting a little bit tired in the middle of their last fight, which is fair enough. He literally wobbled Max 8 times and he did catch a second wind, but Dustin can't have this going late. If he is getting tired, Max's weight translation to lightweight now has given him a lot more stiff power in his straight shots, which he showed against Gaethje, and that volume and power on a tired Poirier will be lights out in the championship rounds. I think Max has either taken this late or Poirier has taken this early, but that's if Max can survive the opening rounds, which I honestly, as I've been saying, I just don't think he will. Poirier's got better timing on his strikes, he's got the power advantage, and he's looked the best he has ever looked in a fight camp, and Max obviously the same. But Poirier is a smarter and more technical fighter in chaotic exchanges, and with that power and timing on his left hand to challenge the chin of Holloway coming off an Ilia KO loss with a 3-inch reach advantage over Holloway coming off the number one pound for pound fight, which he made competitive against Islam. I see the boxing exchanges going DP's way here. And if Holloway is getting hurt 8 times in less than 10 minutes in their last fight, styles make fights, and that cannot be ignored. Even though it's been a bit of time, it's not going to be changing that much. I mean, give Dustin half the chances against Max's chin now, and he's taking him out in 3 rounds. DP, he just needs to rip the lead leg early, use really nice push kicks early, really start setting up the timing on his left when Max goes to press forward, which he did all throughout that first fight that they had, or the second fight that they had. And then in the second round, when they start to exchange further, I think that DP will be landing a clean left straight to a left hook in a flurry to drop Max badly, and then DP ground and pounds him out in the second round to take the BMF belt and to have his final fight finish in the best way possible for him. Now, I'd be really interested to hear what you guys have to say about this matchup. Please leave it in the comments below. Obviously, it's a very complex analytical fight because of their boxing styles and obviously the improvements that have been made in the last 6 years and all the competition they've fought, all the different factors, you know, obviously Max's chin and his weight translation and Dustin Poirier's age and also the damage that he's taken. There's a lot of different factors here, but at the end of the day, I'm really keen to hear what you guys say about this one, and I'm really keen for UFC 318, and I hope you guys are too, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now, if you want to see more MMA-based content, definitely check out the video that's just here on the screen, and please like, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way for the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.